a better way to discuss it. And I think this sort of ties into the responsibility that we have to other Christians as believers,
Mm-hmm.
which is another topic. A lot of topics here. I know I'm sort of ranting a bit,
You're
but that's
good.
another topic I see young Christians struggling with, where they don't know how to interact with non-believers and they don't know how to interact with believers, in the sense that they don't ever grow in their faith because they're constantly alone, surrounding themselves with temptation,
Mm.
because the crowd that they choose to run with is not the Christian crowd. Um, and it's honestly, it's mostly like emotional, but I think that sort of maybe it's a different topic than the mean conversation topic for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think when we're sort of condensing it into the framework of the responsibility that we have towards fellow believers, um, that it is words. The words have lost me. Oh yeah, it'll come up under that umbrella of discussion. Like clearly, if you have some sort of responsibility or obligation um, to your brother in Christ, maybe that's not the best way to frame it. Um, but if you're supposed to lean on them and vice versa and help each other out with your struggles, that's sort of hard to do when you're not friends with any Christians.
Mm-hmm.
When you choose to be friends with non-Christians, who are definitely not helping your faith. And that isn't to say that you can't be friends with non-Christians. I mean, I am, my wife is, you know. Um, but that is to say that you don't have these discussions like we're having here, you
Yeah.
know. And there are some things where they can't really help you out, in your faith. They have a completely different, you know, outlook on life that really creates a barrier on some level. And yeah, I think you're just sort of missing out if you're missing out on fellowship.
Mm-hmm.
Insane.
And
And
see.
see. And the thing is about it really depends on. There's a lot more into, I think, more than just what you're talking about. How it says confront them, and if they don't, then get the church elders, and that's people that are heavily involved in church, in the body and doing things in that, and it goes to us being selfish as human beings because we're all selfish.
Mm.
I mean, whether you want to say it or not, we are. Some people are more selfish than others, or stab someone in the back to get to them, and I think that's where the meanness comes from. Is what do you do when you feel attacked? And as somebody who is like, no, I'm doing this, I'm part of God. It's that's the point of works don't get you to heaven. I guess your relationship with Christ gets you to heaven, not what you do on
Yeah,
this
for
earth.
sure.
Um, so when somebody feels that they're doing something because God had them to, and you're questioning on it, then they feel attacked. They defend themselves. So that's a really hard one to like narrow down because there's so many different aspects of it.
Yeah, no,
But
that's fair. Like you know how it says that the law, sort of the purpose of it, it sort of outlines it in Romans, is to highlight the sin.
Yeah.
And that is not a good feeling.
right,
Maybe sometimes that is what people are going through when they're sort of called out on their actions a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another really deep conversation into itself, getting into how are we not under the law, but still expected to, have standards. And we've actually discussed it a little bit before. I think we read the passage from Romans where it says, should we increase our sin so that grace can increase as well? And it's like, of course not. That's,
How can we who died to sin continue to live in it? Is the following.
yeah, that's a good one.
It's Romans 6. Well, it was just the following sentence from the verse that you were talking about. Yep. Yeah, so as you were talking about some of that, I did like a kind of a quick search just on like correction in the church and what that looks like. Because there are times where it's like, there's a battle droid, where the right answer is to be like, hey, you're messing up, you're still here, we're in this together. And then there's other times I was wanting to figure out the distinction between the times where we're like, hey, we're here with you, and there were some other times, like extreme cases, where they're just like, cut them off. And so I was like, okay, let's see what it says about that. That's something that we could talk about a little bit. I know that we've touched on it before, but I think kind of within the context of what you're talking about, like people just immediately turning on people for disagreeing. I think that's an important distinction to make, because we'll talk about worst case scenarios and everybody will be in agreement. And then again, you go on like the apologetic sections on Facebook, and then you see everybody treating everybody else like an apostate because they have a different theory of the atonement or something ridiculous like that, even though they both believe that Christ died for their sins and he's the only way to salvation. There are points to what you're saying, and I think it's a worthy topic to discuss for sure.
Nice.
Well, and then that's what goes on too. It's just like there's so many different. I think that's a good topic. Because there's some things that somebody struggles with that other people don't.
Yeah.
We've had that conversation.
Yeah.
Language. And I think where it says to treat them as non-believers, it doesn't mean bash or attack them, and a lot of people I've come across have taken that as in, oh, they're non-believer, they just give up.
Treat them like crap, which is the last thing we should be doing with non-believers.
Yeah, that's their choice, and I'm just going to be mine. And it doesn't mean that you gotta, like you made the statement about preaching to them. In that instant, I'm not saying that you can't preach to them, but I don't think it should be something that you're trying to like force down their throat, because guess what? If they were involved in the church, they know it.
Yep.
And one of my favorite, it's not even a Bible verse, but my favorite preaching is at all times preach the gospel, and when necessary use words.
Well, yeah, that's
my Uncle Bill always said.
Yeah, it's a phrase. I don't know. I don't think it's a Bible verse, but it's.
It's not a Bible. I know it's not. But it's,
I just wanted to clarify that.
I did. That's what I said. I said it's not a Bible verse.
Oh,
it's
sorry.
One of my favorite preachings.
Yeah, I misunderstood you because I was shooting at clones or battle droids. I was like, my favorite Bible verse. I was like, that's not a Bible verse.
I said it's my favorite preaching.
Yeah, I got you.
Difference between Bible verse and preaching, because not saying that preaching doesn't have to be biblical, but there's some stuff that preaching goes on that is based off of biblical, and like that is a perfect example. It's not in the Bible, but it is if you like dive into it.
In some principle, yeah.
Right.
I get nervous when some people say that, because a lot of people, nobody here, I'm sure, because I've talked to you guys enough. You'll get those people that won't use words, and they're just like, Just let your life be a presentation of the gospel. I'm like, okay, that means that you're going to be
Yeah.
talking. Which I know that
Totally.
that's not what you're talking about.
Defeats the
'Cause,
purpose.
yeah, I know. I've
Right.
heard you preach the gospel, so so I know that's not us.
Once or twice. Once or twice I've had some.
So slightly
Yeah,
off topic. Yeah, slightly off topic. I just got a new ARC Trooper skin, and it's freaking sick. Wait, see, Arcane. I don't know if you can
Does
see
it
me right
have
here.
Corona?
Yes. It is ill. Hold on. Wait, I get out of the dead zone real fast. Oh, we'll have to look at my wardrobe later. Ooh, punched him out. That was awesome. Somebody flanking us? No, it's Jesse. Sweet.
It's me. Just frying the bad guys. Oh.
One
Trying
thing
to
I
fry the
find
bad guys.
kind of cool
Ugh.
is and one thing that people kind of like gloss over is when it says, you know, to sort of, you know, bring it to the church elders. You have just this like community, like trying to find the words for it. The church is something that you interact with, that you're sort of comfortable enough to hang out with the church elders, to be seen and communicate with. And like in some churches, the issue is the church elders, they don't want to, you know,
Deal with that.
give their time. Yeah, they don't really want to deal with sort of layman stuff. They think their job is to, you know, preach, and then that's it. But the sort of community of the church is really, you know, deep. Like the elders are meant to be not just like respected, but people that you can interact with personally to sort of bring them in on subjects where I kind of want to, I don't want to say their authority, but kind of their authority can be useful, you know.
Mm-hmm. And there's also,
Something I sort of just now noticed.
yeah, another thing that you kind of run into a lot is a lot of church elders don't want to ruffle feathers. You know, they want to keep people happy, keep the tithers happy. And then there's that whole, maybe this is just going to be like our venting hour. You get people who will say everything is divisive. If you confront anybody on anything, you know, it's divisive. It's causing conflict. Sometimes conflicts need to be happening. Like, we have to conflict with evil. Like, we have to. And when evil things are going on, not to be dramatic about it, but to be simple about it, you know. Sometimes you gotta confront it, and we need to be people who are willing to have those awkward conversations and let somebody feel uncomfortable, because that's naturally going to happen when somebody is involved with sin and you're being like, hey, this isn't good, and I love you, and I feel like this isn't what you're supposed to be doing, and I feel like I've got good biblical evidence to support that. It's going to make people feel very uncomfortable. I mean, I still get, just like you were saying earlier, like when people tell us that we're wrong, we get defensive. It's part of our selfish nature. And while we have a new nature, our brain hasn't always caught up with that. I still get defensive when my wife tells me I'm wrong about something. And so just imagine, like, when somebody's actually wrong, unlike me. Just, you're funny, Hayes. Okay. Sorry. Dad joke.
Did you say bad joke or dad joke?
Interchangeable.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah, man, it's not fun getting called out on stuff, and a lot of times it usually has to sink in later on, because our natural reaction is going to be to get bent out of shape about it, get defensive.
Well, and that's the thing too, is I mean, we're elders, yes, are supposed to be, you know, on point with what they say and do and all that, but the thing is we've had that conversation about, if you fail in this aspect, you weren't really a believer. So pornography, for example. But the thing is what's the difference between sinning like that and sinning in other ways? Because we're gonna do it whether it's arguing or yelling at somebody or even road rage driving. You know what I mean?
Just
So
to be
that's the
just to be
problem.
clear, nobody was saying if somebody failed in pornography, they were never really a believer. That was just one of the examples of different types of sin we were talking about. Yeah, for anybody who's
Right.
listening.
But yeah, it had to been a law. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got a history of what we've been talking about. So I'm kind of bringing in like past conversations, past studies, whatever.
Yeah.
But and a lot of people put a higher standard on elders, and oh well, they shouldn't even have got upset about this. Well, they're gonna. We're human. They're selfish as well. That's human nature to do that. And I'm not saying that they're completely okay. Oh, you sinned. You're still an elder. I'm kind of talking over myself here.
You're okay.
Trying to figure out a way to say it good so it's like understood and not just like a rant. But they, people get upset about some of the silliest things, and yet it's like pointing the finger when you're doing the exact same thing. Just because you're doing it, you don't see it.
No,
And that's the
I
hard
think a
part
good
of
way to put it is they sort of. Man, as soon as it started talking, it left me. No, they will put on, the padded gloves with themselves, but the full extent of the law that they can draw out for someone else. And there's there's a lot of judgment, especially for church elders and whatnot. I'm not sure if that's what you were getting at. That's sort of just
Yeah.
what it sounded like to me.
Yes.
So something that would be interesting to talk about, and I think would probably be healthy, so we can like have some clear communication on it. Is, well, I guess just rewinding to what Mitchell initially brought up is kind of like what correction looks like in the church. Generically speaking, I've got some scripture references on my phone here that I can pull up, but just speaking very generically, if somebody is like involved in sin, kind of the biblical prescription for that is somebody comes to them individually, man to man or woman to woman or whatever, and addresses that.
Definitely man to man or woman to woman, no.
Not man to woman.
Uh,
Yeah, there'd be. I could imagine a few contexts where that. Well, I guess it just really depends on the nature of the sin. Like if somebody's just being like, "Hey, like something generic. I noticed you were stealing pencils." Like whatever. I don't really have a firm opinion on that. But what I meant to. Ooh, why did my screen just go black? Oh, what's going on? No. My feed just like crapped out on me. That was really freaky. It did it on the YouTube as well, but it's back now. Just in time for me to lose a bunch of health. So generic sins, go to your brother individually, address it. If they receive the correction, that's awesome. If they don't, it says to come back to them with a witness. To bring them before the church and let the church correct them. And I'm assuming that kind of means elders, And if they don't receive that correction, then it says to treat them like an unbeliever. And Jesse brought up a really good point a few minutes ago. Treating them like an unbeliever doesn't mean like, well, you suck, get out. What I think it does.
That's not what I said, but that was a perfect example.
Yeah. But I think that does have
Oh my
some,
goodness.
there are some practical differences. Obviously, if they're in a position of leadership, they need to not be. Because at that point, I think it's pretty much saying, hey, you have an unrepentant person who's not expressing any sorrow or desire to change or anything like that. You should not have unbelievers leading in your church, no matter who says anything about that.
But they're a good person.
Yeah, sure. Now there is the fighting General Grievous. There is a unique situation as far as sexual sin. I think it still falls under the kind of steps of correction, but there are other places in Scripture where Paul says, if you have somebody who's claiming to be a believer who is living a lifestyle of sexual sin, that instance, the Bible does legitimately say to cut them off. Not because they suck and they don't deserve help. I think it's because sexual sin is not just something where, you're not just sinning against God, you're not just sinning against your own walk, but, you're actually doing harm to other people, according to God's word. You're doing moral harm, you're leading them into temptation as well. And you're kind of making a mockery of the gifts that God gave us to be expressed in marriage and to be an example of Christ and his church, because that's what marriage is. So I just want to create that distinction where you have people who are unrepentant, who aren't expressing any desire to change. They don't see this stuff as a problem. The Bible says not even to eat with them, which is a pretty hard pill to swallow. I've actually had a couple cases in my life where I've been like, what do I do? Because I've got one of the situations where I have somebody who's claiming to be a believer. They're claiming the name of Christ and living with their fiance that they've got a kid with or something like that. There's a circle?
Yeah, we gotta.
Oh, that circle.
Lost it.
Oh, no. So that's uncomfortable. And that might lead to another question, Mitchell. And this is kind of a distinction that somebody offered to me was in America, we have a lot of people that are like nominally Christian, which Mitchell and I have talked about a lot. Mitchell, do you think that standard would still apply to like the generic American Christian or a nominal Christian? Or do you think that was more for the time when during the early church, there was a huge distinction between a Christian and somebody else because it was kind of like balls to the wall, like all or nothing sort of deal in their estimation, which it should be. But do you think there's any difference now that nominal Christians exist and you have all these people that maybe just because the culture that they're raised in, they think they're Christians?
I don't understand the question. I can rant about nominal Christians.
Let me take a second pass at the
One
question,
thing.
unless
Okay,
you do
yeah,
understand
I
it.
would do that.
Okay. So this isn't me advocating for this position, by the way. This is me just wanting to get your guys' thoughts on this. So during the early church, if you had somebody who was claiming to be a Christian, obviously the church was much more radical back then, as it should be. I'm not saying that, they were more hardcore. We're not as hardcore, even though they were definitely more hardcore in a good way.
You can't live hardcore if you're not hardcore. Sorry.
So, no, it's okay. So during this fledgling stages of the church, the Apostle Paul said that if anybody is living in sexual immorality and they're claiming to be a believer, not to have anything to do with them at all. Nominal Christians didn't exist back then. You didn't have a culture of people where they're like, yeah, I was born in Texas. Of course I'm a Christian. Country songs, like country music Christian, if that makes any sense. That stuff didn't exist back then. But now in America, you have
Common
these...
law didn't exist.
Yeah, stuff like that where now we have this culture of people who they think they're a Christian because their mama was Christian, and they still live in sin. They haven't actually had that regenerative experience with Jesus, but just because the culture, they were raised in a quote unquote Christian culture, they see themselves as Christian, and they might even label themselves as Christian. They're nominal Christians. Do you think there's a distinction between what the Bible says, like when Paul says to cut people off if they're living in sexual immorality? Do you think that applies now when there are nominal Christians who a lot of times people don't quote, I'm using this phrase loosely, people who don't know any better, but they just identify themselves as Christian because that's the culture they were raised in?
Well, well, my dad was saved, or my parents were saved, so I am, but that's definitely not the case. That's not how it works.
Right.
And then you also got different Christianity or churches that are like the whole once saved, always saved type of thing. They don't believe that you can even walk away from what God has or anything. So, so that's a pretty loaded question. Answered.
No, I think on some level it is necessary to differentiate yourself from nominal Christians because it is more than just a culture. It is more than just something we're born into, you know. It is more than a religion, it's a relationship. And I think the way that manifests itself might be a little bit different case to case. I think if they're saying they are Christian and then advocating for a very non-Christian view, or living a non-Christian lifestyle, I do think it is the case to sort of cut them off to some level because you don't want that associated with Christianity because it's not, It really isn't Christianity to call yourself Christian and have none of the beliefs or standards or to, even, water it down. They will absolutely say that they're Christians, they believe in Jesus, that he died, that he was God. But we're a little fuzzy on some of the morality here. Maybe God was a little old-fashioned, and it's like, nope, out.
No, he was not.
And we had one guy that was telling us he was living, like you said, they were just dating with her, and he's like, when me and God have an agreement, and our secretary actually back there in Bandit Marathon, she was like, that's not how it works. That doesn't make deals like that.
Yeah.
Like, do you even read your Bible? It's like, it's funny, but not, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
It's like, he was like, seriously, like, oh, God and I having a deal. I'm like,
You have a deal that nobody else signed off on. In God's
God.
the dotted line that God is supposed to sign, it has like a lowercase g that's like written backwards by a 5-year-old. It says God with 2 D's at the end because you're retarded. That's how that works.
That's what I named my dog.
Yeah.
So he's pretty smart. It's like, Oh, and I got kicked out because apparently I stood still for 10 seconds.
Uh-oh. Yeah. All right.
It says I can join you. I will try.
It's a lie. We got 4 people in the game. Mitchell, let's just back out. We'll go get him.
Sweet.
You can finish the game. It's all right. I'm cooking some food. That's what
Okay. Mitchell, did you already back out?
Just connected.
Oh yeah, I'm already.
He's already gone. All right, I'll back up.
He's like, I'm quick.
It's over. Now,
Man.
yeah, I think Mitchell. I think you're right. Yeah, I mean, I think that there's really easy ways to kind of bridge that pretty small gap between, nominal believers and whatever cultural differences there now. I think is really easy to make up for just simply by being like, hey, man, so yeah, so like, Jesus, that's awesome. They're like, yeah, I know Jesus. And then you have that conversation like, so you've like given your life to Jesus and like, you know, turned away from sin, that sort of stuff. And then it's pretty easy to distinguish like where somebody's at just by a simple conversation and just lovingly being like, oh, well, this is actually something that when I was in Bible school and they would like send us out to evangelize, they would have us do. We'd ask people like, hey, like, God forbid if you were to die today, like, do you know beyond a shadow of a doubt if you'd go to heaven? And a lot of times people will say yes. And if they say yes, you're like, hey, that's awesome. Like, why do you say that? Because you want to figure out like where they're basing their salvation in. And sometimes if anybody says anything along the lines of, I'm a good person, or, I've gone to church all my life, or my parents raised me to be a Christian, if they say anything other than the fact that like I've received Jesus into my heart or Jesus died for my sins, any of that sort of stuff, anything that like, is dependent on him, then we move forward and we actually present the gospel to them. I think that would be kind of a good way to approach that. Like, oh, like, and then if you do find out that somebody, we keep using the same example, like somebody's living with their girlfriend or something, just be like, hey, like, just so you know, like, God takes this stuff seriously. Like, I don't want to come down on you or anything like that, but like, if you're saying that like you're a servant of like Christ and like you're doing this, like, you see the problem there, right? And then depending on what they say, like, man, like, you can't be claiming the name of Jesus and like living your life for the devil, because that really does have a negative effect, not just on the church as people, because I don't think that's a huge deal, but the cause of Christ, where it's like he is the king of righteousness, and the devil absolutely hates God. He hates his church, and he hates us to live lives of victory. So if you're living a life of like, because sin has this thing where it gets it, like sexual sin gets its hooks in, and it's hard to get those hooks out. Obviously, it's hard to do anything right without the grace of God, but you know what I mean. Like, that's particularly pernicious. So that's a big deal to be committed to something like that, and then saying that you are a servant of the King of Kings. Like, you can't do that. You can't be claiming the name of Jesus and living your life for Satan. So we can't mix that together. We can't just be like, yep, you're in, and then have them completely tearing us apart from the inside. You know what I mean? Like, if you get somebody in there and you treat them as one of your own, and I've done this when I was in sexual sin in my life. Like, I was sinning with other believers. You know what I mean? Like, it just causes chaos. And I wasn't the guy that was running around like living unrepentantly. Like, when I messed up, I felt bad about it and I tried not to, but I couldn't get a grip on myself. I needed accountability in my life. But like, just imagine having somebody just go completely rogue, or like, yeah, man, I love Jesus, and like they're just like sexual predators. Not literally, but you have people that are just like treating the church like a nightclub. Dude, that's poison. You can't have that stuff going on. So it makes perfect sense that like you have to kind of cut those things off, and that is literally the most loving thing you can do. But it's hard.
And and not just for the image aspect as well. I mean, one thing I do find is that it happens naturally, you know, and sort of a weird way to look at it. Like, statistically, it sort of presents itself as, churches that are very split or very worldly in their opinion. They're pretty okay on promiscuity. They don't believe in like kicking hardly anyone out. They don't take a hard stance for any morality, are the ones that are in decline right now. The ones that really sink into the word though and are like, hey, sex is for marriage. Hey, maybe we shouldn't be doing evil things to the most innocent among us and stuff like that. They're growing pretty well, above the population growth rate. But even in like personal matters, like nominal Christians tend to be uncomfortable doing more than like the ritualistic, if that makes sense. And so it's like even reaching out and being like, hey, you have to maybe plug yourself into fellowship, or would you like to pray with me and stuff like that. Like I personally have found that they're very uncomfortable with it. You know what I mean? Like they tend to present themselves in a way and that causes strife, so long as you're like we were talking about earlier, you have to sort of live your life for the gospel and showing the gospel. Part of that is speaking it, but really being active in church. You're going to have those moments of strife with nominal Christians when you say something that is scripturally accurate but personally offends them.
Yeah.
And really being loud and like digging into the word. Like you don't have to be smashing people over the head with the harshest things in the Bible that you can find, or something that bothers them. Just it should come up in regular conversation if you're digging into the word pretty often. I mean, throughout the years, we've touched on a lot of topics.
Yeah. Hey, Jesse, we jumped in a game. If you're not in, you should jump in because there's still room. I don't know if it brought you.
You're searching for supremacy.
Okay, maybe yours is just loading because we're technically in a game. We're in the startup screen.
I canceled it and I'll try and join up again.
Okay. Sorry, Mitchell. Go ahead. I want to make sure we got him in.
No, you're good. I think I was just kind of like rambling off anyway, so it's okay.
That was a good ramble.
I'm sure there's a more eloquent way to sort of summarize that. But I think that I think it's sort of. No, I'm gonna stop while I'm ahead, because otherwise I'm gonna end up saying something I disagree with while thinking out loud.
Yeah, got you. Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for the difference between motivation and power. And when we preach the word of God, there is actual power to change people's lives. When we preach the gospel, it offends our fleshly man who wants to get by on pride. We want to think, oh, I'm a good person, or I haven't done anything really that bad, or, I'm technically on God's side because I've done this, and this right. But when we hear no, we've all committed this, we've all fallen short of the glory of God, we're all sinners, and we have to be given our righteous identity by Him. And then you tell people that they're righteous if they're in Christ, that just offends them even more. You're like, wait, this guy's righteous even though he's done all the same things as me? And when you're able to look them in the eye and be like, yes, because of what Christ has done, I am righteous. And if you're not in Christ, you're not. And it's not because I'm better than you. It's because that grace was imputed to me. That offends everything inside of them. And then you go on to tell them the same stuff where it's like, if you receive Jesus, He wants us to look like Him. You can't go living like the devil and acting like you're living for Jesus. You can't act like you're living for God and be working for the devil in your daily life. It doesn't work. You can't be killing innocent people. You can't be killing innocent unborn babies and saying that you love God and you're about grace and mercy. You can't do those. That doesn't mix. And there's power in distinction. There really is. And there's power in walking in integrity. And just like you said, these churches that are kind of going half-ass on these things, they're dwindling because there's no power in those churches. They don't actually change anybody's lives. They just offer some religion. They make somebody feel good about themselves for just a little bit until they realize that they feel just as garbage as they did before, because technically their lives don't have any actual power of righteousness in them. They're just feeding their own selfishness and patting themselves on the back. And that sounds really harsh, but like, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like, if you're saying you're serving God and you're not, you're gonna feel that. You're gonna feel dead from that, because that is death. Yeah. I think now I'm gonna start rambling, so I should probably stop.
No, that was good though. Dude, Galatians is such a good book for this though. Just sort of like reading through it right now. Here, I'm going to read just a little bit of it. So this is Galatians 6, 1 through 5, I think.
Okay.
It says, "Brethren, if a man is overtaken in any trespass, you who are spiritual, restore such a one in a spirit of gentleness, considering yourself, lest you also be tempted.
Nice.
Bear one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ. Or if anyone thinks himself to be something when he is nothing, he deceives himself. But let each one examine his own work, and then he will have rejoicing in himself alone and not in another, for each one shall bear his own load."
That
Thoughts,
is good.
comments, concerns?
That's good. Yeah, I think that's really good, because I know that a lot of what I said could be, again, like I said, it could sound harsh. And we just have to emphasize that this righteousness that we're given, we are given. And we're not righteous because we're doing something that has earned that. We're righteousness because we received that, and then naturally that righteousness is going to want to work its way out in our practical lives. And so, yeah, I think that's good to temper what I'm saying, because I don't want anything I'm saying to be taken as boasting and, we're doing it right and so is doing it wrong. We've been changed from the inside out,
I mean,
and that has real effects on our walk. Oh, that was a bad shot. That was a really bad shot.
I feel like you tempered it yourself a little bit, if
I hope so.
people are sort of paying attention to it when you were saying, like, you're righteous. Like, okay, why? Not because of anything that you've done.
Yeah. That kind of gets, I know that gets lost in translation sometimes, just because, again, when you place that distinction between like dark and light, people who are in the dark are just gonna be like, "Bro, you think you're better than me, bro?" And you can be like, "No, I'm not. Like, but I'm better off." Like, bro. Yeah. So that is
You can't even joke about it and be like, "I am."
But I am, bro. No.
I just checked. Yeah.
But yeah, especially pertaining to like the original discussion, like when I was saying, you come to these brothers presumably in love, like that actually says it explicitly, like come to them in gentleness with the purpose of restoring them because you love them, not to look down on them, not to boast in any like, "Oh, you don't have it, I do," or something like that, or get with the program. Like, no, like I love you. I want you to live as good a life as possible, and I know that sin is going to muck that up, and also we have a king who we love, who deserves our obedience and our praise, and he deserves to have a bride with clean clothes. We don't want to be icky. We want to be shining clean, because that's who he's made us to be. So Galatians is awesome. Good call, Mitchell. Did you like remember that, and then you like went and looked it up, like that like came to mind?
Yeah, just kind of, I remember Galatians talks about this topic to some degree, and I'm just skimming through it, and that one came up, and I'm just like, I'm going to read it.
Nice.
And it felt like a good call. I don't regret reading it.
Yeah,
And
that
y'all
was a good
servers are
call.
full. I had to reset the game.
Oh man. Okay. I'll tell you. We're like in the middle of it right now. Hold on.
No, you're fine.
Oh, I
It's a rush.
just saw that you texted me. Ooh. I am the chosen one.
I got in.
Oh, sweet. That's good because I'm Anakin. Let's see if you'll be green on our thing or if you're gonna be on the opposite team. Ooh, I
Or a
need to
different
change my
squad.
sensitivity real fast. So that's just what I've been doing, Mitchell. When I am a trooper, I put my sensitivity down to 30, and when I'm a lightsaber hero, I've been putting it up to 60 if I'm in these big team battles. It's usually on like 70 or 80 when I'm in Heroes vs. Villains. Because I want to be able to turn around real fast and block behind me.
So you're on Stormtrooper side?
Yeah, we're clone troopers.
Oh, good. Me too.
We are the Grand Army of the Republic.
I'm in a different clan than you or squad, but I'm on the Republic.
So, random Star Wars talk. I really want them. Like Mitchell, we've talked about it before, but like when they like start like getting into the twilight years of supporting this game, whenever that point comes, here I'll try to get behind him. Oh, hold on. I really want them to just give us as many customizable options as possible. Like with Rey, I want both colors of her lightsaber. I would like to be able to have a purple lightsaber if I wanted to. I would like to
Yellow
Ye-
lightsaber.
yellow lightsaber. Yeah, that's what Rey has. Jesse, you've
I wish they
seen.
had Kit Fisto.
Oh heck yeah, Kit Fisto's great, man.
We sick.
Especially like since the Clone Wars came out, because he had two lightsabers and he was all freaking cool.
Yeah, and he was also in like the original Star Wars Battlefront.
Yes, he was. Him and Ayla Secura, she had dual blade lightsaber in the original game, but she had like single blade in the series, and I'd be okay with that. Shoot her!
Oh, come on, that explosion should have killed you. Oh, you switched up real people. We're trash at this. Thought you were trying to be all like cool and stream and look all fancy.
Do what?
You're like, I need to work on my kill streaks. Let me play this.
I do want to work on my kill streaks. I'd like to stream some or record them. How did I just get insta-killed by Dooku? Not even just like, oh, that was fast. Like, he swung 3 times and
Dooku
killed me
is-
mid-swing.
Dooku is doo-doo.
That was insulting. Oh, that's so frustrating. I was also getting shot from everybody at the same time, but still. I felt like I should have
What? Oh,
taken some damage, and not all of the damage.
this is how we do it. Take all the damage.
Mitchell, if you get out of combat, I'm going to come to you. Oh, that's not
Yeah,
going to happen
can't
anytime
jump up
soon.
that little
You're
dive.
surrounded. preposterous, but
My goodness gracious. Just get destroyed. Just walk out there, dead. Dead.
dead. You know, just dead. I'm Chris Matthews and he's dead. Oh my gosh, I fixed it. I had like some Internet Explorer windows open, and so I closed the window and it fixed everything. We saved our streamer. Thanks, guy, for going down this adventure with us. That's actually really encouraging because that's the first time I've been able to like recover it once it started doing that. I really enjoy the Clone Wars, man.
The time period, the show.
All of it. I meant like playing in it, but yeah, all of it. And Mitchell, I'm gonna keep bothering you until you at least watch through the essential list. The new arc,
Like the movies or like Clone Wars?
the Clone Wars series, they have the final season playing on Disney Plus right now, and it's been kind of hit and miss, but they finally started the last 4 episodes, which is like the last big story arc, and the first episode was freaking amazing. It's so good. They're structuring the last 4 episodes to operate like a movie, and it's working. Super good. Oof. You got me.
Move, teammate. I'm getting sniped with a E5, which is a pistol,
Yeah.
and my teammate keeps jumping in front of me, so I'm hitting them and not killing them using my heavy. That's why I like co-op. This is ridiculous.
I'm turning my air conditioner on. It's kind of loud, but it's hot. And if I'm hot, that means the rest of my family's hot too, so.
Nice. So maybe not next time. Next time, depending on what you're feeling. I am still completely okay with going through and doing the
Oh, Atlanta.
study on, salvation.
Oh, yeah. I forgot we talked about that.
Fired.
I am down with that. Do you want me to put it together, or do you want to put the verses together yourself? Or both?
I mean, both is good, but I can do it. Yeah, I'm home, got that good Wi-Fi, got my Bible.
No, when you say Wi-Fi, are you talking about streaming it, or are you just talking about compiling like the curriculum for it?
Probably compiling the curriculum. I can try to stream, but
Let's have me do it, because it never seems to work. I just sniped that guy
it
across
puts
the
too much of a burden on my laptop. Not really like the internet or anything. When I have, a job again
Yeah.
and can save up for a laptop, I'll get one for the purpose of streaming.
Yeah, I need to get a new computer.
But until
too.
then, all streaming will just be when I'm, dinking around on PC.
Did you have another? You mentioned a few things when we started streaming, just as far as topics, like for tonight. Did you have something else in mind? Oh, just lost our streamer.
Nothing.
Bye, streamer.
Bye. Love you.
Hope you find your dad.
Nothing really that I can remember. If I'm being honest, kind of dropping the ball a little bit there.
Oh, they're boarding us.
Yeah, they destroyed us.
That's rude.
We did no good on attacking their base. It's because I keep punching instead of sprinting. So I'm just
It's
taking
your
the blame
fault.
right now.
Yeah. It's all because of No Man's Sky.
Okay, you get hit in the back, move. Goodness gracious. I'm talking to you, Arcane.
Yeah,
That's literally.
I had a feeling.
I know you.
Well, I'm super laggy, so I didn't realize it. I thought I was standing out of your way because I rolled past you on my screen.
No, I just said it because you weren't actually the culprit until right there at the end. And like when I was hitting it, I saw your name and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm talking to you." It was actually 3 other people before you. It's funny. Found my friend.
Darth Maul.
I'm lost. I'm all alone.
Dang it, I was doing a good job too.
How's that guy have a shield up and he's?
It might be a destroyer droid. They can do that.
Oh yeah. Forgot they can. Arsel Asriel of Doom. Cool name.
Hey, push, 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 push.
Oh, push. We're defending.
No, I was talking to my guy because I was trying to do force push and he was just sitting there charging it while Darth Maul was behind me, and it was just a bad time for everybody involved, mostly me. Who the heck is shooting me still?
Really? His little pistol's better than my charge up shot? That's cute. That's super cute. What? We only had 1 defense. Blech. Punch, punch. Parry, parry.
Dag, nabbit.
Punch.
We got our second guy back. We love you. We knew you'd come back. Well, that's not true. Oh, you didn't know that.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, we got steamrolled that first phase. That was really bad. Oop, I need to fix my default settings. No, not default. Let's just... That's a window, even though it's not.
What? Dude, yeah. I'll go back to No Man's Sky. Like, kill the guys. Literally just keep...
Alright, Mitchell, I'm with you in the back.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for blocking my...
Such a well-thrown grenade, and he had backed away out of the doorway.
Ooh, Grievous just went down the hole after Anakin did, but, you know, Grievous did too, so that's cool. You got destroyers heading to the thing. Didn't see that coming. Oh, are you Anakin?
Oh my goodness gracious.
Good for you. I'm not bitter.
I have
I'm
a
not
total of
mad.
7,000 points. Watch out.
Oh my god, someone help me.
I'm trying. I'm shooting grenades from very far away, and I just killed 2 guys. 3 grenades, 2
Nice.
kills, but you still died. So. And I died. It's pretty rough.
Honestly, low key with like travel and stuff, this is probably a pretty good night to have no curriculum. Cause I'm not feeling too hot. Feeling a little tired, stomach's a little upset.
Yeah, I like having free-form conversations anyways. We tend to do pretty well with them.
Yeah.
Really? They shooting through Yoda's little force field. That's good. Gerber.
Are they explosive shots? That might be it.
No.
No. They're just cheaters.
Nope. No, I'm not saying they're cheaters.
I
I
am.
don't know if it's a latency thing, but well, you can make that
I'm
claim.
just
I'm
kidding.
not.
I'm just kidding.
What, Ben? You go outside? What's wrong with you? Powder.
Hey, we might have effectively pushed them back. If we can hold this.
We got heroes coming in now.
Oh, yeah, there's Dooku and Maul. Somebody
Block this off completely now.
we had, but you know, a destroyer zoomed through it because that's what they do.
I killed one of them. I killed
Okay.
Dooku.
Good job.
And then Darth Maul's just like, brah, 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 brah. I've got spinning blade. Brah. What? Oh, I have a pistol.
What?
Excellent. Oh, great. Now Bosk is in here. We only got 2 minutes left.
Let's see how we can hold this off.
I really wish that grenades didn't bounce so far off of people. If it had hit the floor, it probably would have stayed close enough to him to explode. It hit like his toe, you know, like his shin, honestly, and just bounced way off to the right. I don't know why. I think it was because he was running. But he effectively knocked it out of the way of all the people behind him that I was aiming at. I'm just like,
Crap.
no, why?
Yeah, we just lost. Dang it. I thought we had it. Yeah, they got all 3 of them. That's hurtful. That was a valiant game. Hey, I got 30 kills though. 43 eliminations.
I had like 10. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't quite make top 5 though.
Let's see.
What's up, Daniel? I just saw your text. No big deal. Yeah, I didn't realize the live chat was actually showing up on the right-hand side of the screen instead of the middle. Thanks for joining us.
Come on, phone.
Hopefully it doesn't make us be battle droids. Yeah, it's gonna make us be battle droids. That's hurtful. Jesse, are you you're in our game. Never mind.
Yes, I just was on the other squad. Same team. Other squad.
Goober.
What?
The way you said
You
it
didn't
was
see
funny.
my Facebook post?
Facebook post. Yeah.
Yeah, my dad sent me a picture and he's like, I don't know, some people's children. And I was like, had my head just all half partially shaved and I'm eating cake. I was thinking it was like my
Oh, I saw that.
16th or 17th birthday.
Yeah, I saw that today. Ridiculous.
I've been special for a long time.
Okay, so I'm going to switch to Bounty Hunter with the star card so I can get some extra battle points. There we go. So what else is turning in that brain of yours, Mitchell? What's
My internet is slower than it ever has been before, and I think the internet hates me. Like, I think it made sense in Georgia when I was down there. They don't
Well, the fact is, there's a
have lines
million
because
people
they're
playing.
in a very, yeah. They don't have the newest up-to-date, cables or anything, and much service out there because it's very rural. There's very little area to build. They basically back right up to a swamp. There's inlets everywhere, where rivers let out into the ocean. So like every time I go down there, like the internet's bad. I just ran a speed test, and yeah, man, came back 2 megabytes per second down.
that's very fast. Not really.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely zooming. But yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know what other conversation, because I did give. I felt like I gave somewhat of a list at the beginning, and I've forgotten that list, but I know it pushed off to some extent.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about nominal Christians, talked about addressing people who are living in seemingly unrepentant sin.
Dude, come on. I'm getting so tired of people standing in front of me. Sorry.
We've also talked a little bit just in the last couple weeks about how a lot of, I think I said the phrase at one point, the worldly are going to become more worldly and the godly are going to become more godly with all of the coronavirus stuff. That's still something that I tend to see some of, where I have to be careful because I know that there are Bible believing Christians who are actually I don't know how you're going to phrase them, actual brothers and sisters who have different opinions. Oh, that's what you that's what part of you were talking about, is people turning on each other on the internet for disagreeing. So that's a perfect segue, Hayes. Yeah, I guess we can kind of segue back into that, but just seeing more people who aren't liberty minded at all, which I guess there's plenty of believers who aren't for some reason, but people ridiculing Christians who are, calling people foolish, seeing the other people who are liberty minded, calling people sheep, telling them that they're going to be the first ones to take the mark of the beast. Seems like everybody's kind of turning on each other, and it's a bad time.
And there's some Christians that believe that the only people that are getting it, literally, are non-believers. And Christians are immune to.
Oh, the virus itself, yeah.
Yeah.
What a
A
time.
lot of, saying this lovingly as possible, but there are a lot of crazy people out there.
One thing, I don't know, you're just sort of talking about the virus. It made me think.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I'm seeing is people are taking one case and being very, very extremist in their opinions based on this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a people thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of just them confirming their biases. They do it with the Bible as well, that's where you get the term flagship verses, where theologies are built on one verse that doesn't have much support for their version of interpretation anywhere else in scripture, and that they just get written off. They're like, oh, you're using flagship verse. Well, it's them confirming their biases. One thing I'm seeing is there's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot with coronavirus. There's a lot of, chaos And of course, when that happens, there is going to be something that can confirm any one view, if that makes sense. Like, of course, we've seen people saved um, from, churches staying open. They've heard the gospel and accepted it. And, of course, we've seen people saved from churches closing, and not just like physically like coronavirus, but they've actually been able to increase their outreach. And I think this ties into the original discussion where people need to measure their sort of conversation with people and not immediately jump to, because they disagree with me. One, a disagreement is not sin. It really is not the same as living a sinful lifestyle. And obviously there are different levels to disagreements. But two, people, honestly, in my experience, they act more harshly to other Christians voicing disagreement, or even giving a moderate, perspective over the whole coronavirus thing, which a moderate perspective would be, of course, God can heal, but only put yourself at unreasonable risk if you feel called to. And people would absolutely jump on the fact that you ever at any point advocated for someone to put themselves at unreasonable risk, ignoring the fact that, God calls you to do it. You're probably good.
Yeah, that I would call that like a reasonable risk. Or be like, that's a reasonable risk to take. Like, it is a risk, and if God is like asking us to make that risk, then that is reasonable.
But
We get a lot of what I would call
just the
fear
way
mongering.
Christian,
Fear mongering, yeah. I agree.
just the way Christians sort of immediately divide themselves is a little, ridiculous on some level.
Yeah, I think a good example of it would be a good friend of mine was telling me that, we had the church here in Tampa with all the stuff, and then people called the cops and he got arrested. Apparently, he was saying he was one of the not the police officers, one of the pastors who supposedly like kind of ratted out to the police that they were going to be holding a church service. Allegedly, like he was talking to that guy and was like, wow, like what a creep. And I kind of mean that. Like, I think that's a creep thing to do, like rat out another pastor because he chose to have a church service with his congregation where they were voluntarily allowed to come. They weren't obligated to come. They practiced social distancing. They gave out hand sanitizer. They sold food. All the staff had gloves, and they had like a microbial air filtration system. And you have like a pastor in town call the cops and like give a tip that these people are illegally assembling. Like, that's gross. And then in the same breath, he was telling me how like he was on the guy's Facebook page telling him that he was going to take the mark of the beast. And I was just like, oh, that's the worst of both worlds. Like, there you go. Like, I was like, oh, don't tell me that you did that. And he totally did. And I feel like that's a perfect example of like both extremes, where you have like these Christians who are literally turning other Christians into the law for having a peaceful assembly in the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, while practicing social distancing. You have people ratting them out to the police like some freaking creepy like Jew snitches, like people who are like snitching out on Jews for existing in Nazi Germany. Had to really clarify that because it could sound really bad if I.
Yeah, I'm really glad you added that
I don't know what the word
in
is.
there.
Yeah, people who were in Nazi Germany, people who were telling the Nazis where the Jews were at. So the bad guys.
Two snitches is on.
Phrasing, Hayes, phrasing. Yeah, so you have like that, and then again, you have the other extreme where they're like, you're going to be the first ones that take the mark of the beast. Like, you're going to hell. You're not even saved. Like, I don't know. Maybe he is saved. It seems like a creep thing to do. Definitely calls his leadership into question as far as I'm concerned. But, like, you just have people tearing each other apart, man. It's a bad place to be.
You know what? Weird to say, but probably something worth discussing because I feel like we've sort of worn this topic out as much as we can without doing like a deeper prepared study on it. But the mark of the beast
Oh,
and other conspiracy theories, they have been everywhere. And
yeah.
they have been in a surprising number of Christian circles. And one thing I never really understand is the fear. You know, I feel like we are not called to fear. That is not from God. But I really like the thing that you shared. On that, it was some pastor.
I think it.
His views.
Yeah, I think that was Alan Kaplan. I was just thinking that as well. Just talking about how you're not going to accidentally take the mark of the beast. Like, don't worry about it. Like, you're not going to get suckered into taking on the mark of Satan himself. Yeah, go figure.
Yeah, man. But what? I don't even know if it could fall under a Christian sort of perspective, or if it's just something where it's worldly. You have to sort of, I don't know, because worldly is typically used in a bad light, where it's something that you have to just have a little bit of common sense about, you know, and sort of not be gullible and frightful of everything, you know, that you don't have significant evidence for.
Was that a question or a statement?
A little bit of both, just sort of probing where you're at insofar as how Christians should handle conspiracy theories.
Yeah. So just rule out gossip. Like, that's the most solid thing I could say, because I mean, there's biblical basis and there's practical basis to be like, yep, things are going to move towards a one world order. Like, the Bible talks about there being like a one world government. In Revelation, they kind of talk about that. And it's very clear from the political scene that we have a very vocal and an increasingly growing sect of people. Sect is maybe not even the right word, because there's so many of them. We have a generation of people believing that everything is supposed to be a utopia that's taken care of by the government. Pretty much the entire Democratic platform is leaning towards they all love the United Nations. The United Nations is garbage. It's hot garbage, and every manifestation, everything that they touch ends up being gross on just about every level. Gross and or grossly incompetent. Practical example, the World Health Organization. Not necessarily a one world order type thing, but you have all these nations and all these bureaucrats coming together, making decisions for everybody else that are literally getting humans killed. But all that is to say, there are definitely conspiracies that exist, but people definitely take that principle and the common sense side that you can see with the naked eye, and they just run with it and they run wild. like, and then they start taking things like gossip. Like a thing that's big right now is QAnon. QAnon, am I saying that right? Some guy named Q who's been on the internet, who supposedly is a high-ranking government official who's been anonymously posting things for years on the internet, and now there's an entire group of them or something. It's just a conspiracy theory website, and all these Christians are buying into it, and they're literally basing these like not life or death views, but views regarding life and death situations based on gossip. People who are anonymously posting things, they can't substantiate what they're talking about. They make claims that they can't prove. They accuse people when they can't show direct evidence to it in many cases. That's like the definition of gossip. He said, she said. There's no actual factual basis. There's no proof. Everything, biblically speaking, is supposed to be established by 2 or 3 witnesses, like during the Old Testament. That seems like a pretty good model to stick with. And you have the body of Christ, who are in many cases blindly accusing people of gross, disgusting things based on gossip. And it's a bad time.
Nice.
Yeah, I think...
I mean, the situation isn't nice.
Yeah.
Alright, but
I know what you do. Thank you. Yeah, it's weird, man. I don't understand how we have such low standards for accusing people of things. And again, bad things are happening. Like I am on board with that premise. Like, I think government is obviously steering towards getting overly big. We all have similar concerns as far as the skeleton is concerned, but like, people are just losing their minds and losing their credibility in the meantime. While we were talking, I was trying to fight Anakin, and I just got teamed up on totally by a bunch of clone troopers. I had like 6 or 7 clone troopers shooting me, and it was disheartening because I could not regen my health because they just kept the pressure on so heavy. I should have ran away, but I tried to hide and pick off Anakin because for some reason I don't have that escape instinct inside of me. I have to like remember to use it. About to get my payback, Anakin. Yes. Yeah, I don't understand the fascination with QAnon. I don't know. And it's like a bunch of the Bible Belt guys too, man. It's like all the charismatics are just like, they'll just blindly believe that this stuff is going on. Like, I had a good friend a couple months ago when all the coronavirus stuff started. They were saying, oh yeah, it's just a big conspiracy because pedophiles are starting to get caught. So what they're doing is they're saying that all these people are getting sick with this virus so that they can cover up the fact that they're getting arrested for being in these pedophilia rings. I was like, where are you getting this from? They're like, QAnon, bro. Like, it's on there. I do your research. And I'm like, okay, well, what research are you talking about? Like, is this like a blog on the internet? And yes, it was. They were saying like Tom Hanks wasn't really sick with the coronavirus. Him and his wife got arrested for being in the pedophilia rings. And then sure enough, like a week and a half later, he was like, yep, we're all better. They released us. And they're back in the public. I'm just like, oh yeah, how's that pedophilia theory going? It's just... Obviously there are pedophile rings. I mean, I do believe that Jeffrey Epstein probably didn't kill himself. That stuff happens. But again, they take these things that are evident, at least in theory, and they start like applying specifics to them without actual evidence. And we make fools of ourselves when we do that, even though people have good intentions, but you just can't believe something just because somebody says it with a sense of authority.
Everything that's on the internet's real. What are you talking about?
Yeah, right?
yeah, and I mean, one thing that sort of rapidly changing times, sort of makes apparent is it highlights things, when stuff goes crazy like it is currently. Um, you find out very quickly, if your theory is correct or incorrect
Mm-hmm.
when it's such a bold theory. And what that sort of made me think of is I'm trying to find the words for it. Just sort of, do you think there is a way? I don't know. I don't want to say to take advantage, but maybe to use this time to differentiate the sort of types of Christians almost. And what I mean by this is
Really? What
you
is the
can
point of being a
tell
hero if you die that fast? Stupid game.
I think, um, who is genuine in faith when in times of distress, they are still at peace, They are still with God, trusting on Him to, provide, and not everything, will be okay because of Him. Some stories of pastors like almost like panicking over things, and that isn't to say, necessarily that because they panic they don't, know God or anything like that. But do you think it sort of serves almost as a litmus test for people's relationship with Christ to some degree? Do you think it could serve as that or not? Because the reason why I'm asking this, I'm not saying that I agree with it, but I have seen a lot of Christians really jump in on this. Hey, if you don't, agree with this, or if you are panicky at all, then you're not a Christian. And I've seen others say like the opposite. If you're not panicking, you're not valuing your life as Jesus did. And it's just like,
Ugh.
let's settle down a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. um, Rather than just giving like a flat yes or no answer, I'll kind of like give some prefaces to some things that I think are good, like premises to operate off of. God doesn't give us a spirit of fear. Although God doesn't give us a spirit of fear, we all get scared sometimes. Yeah, I mean, one of the fruits of the Spirit is peace, for sure. That being said, I mean, we don't always take advantage of the fruits and the things that God has given us. And a lot of times we get duped by the devil or by our own bad habits or our own stupid thinking into operating out of fear. And I don't think that's an uncommon thing at all for believers. I operate out of fear. That's why, like, I'd say 90% of the time that I'm like angry about something, I'm probably scared about something. Not necessarily like scared, like, oh no, what's going to happen to me? But like, if I'm in a conflict, I'm probably afraid that that conflict is going to go on longer than I want it to. And that becomes anger. Or, like people get scared, Christians get scared, but we don't have to. And so, as far as like whether or not it's a litmus test to somebody being a believer, no, not necessarily. I think there are some consistencies, though. I think you're more likely to find people operating completely in a spirit of fear if they don't know the Lord. But there are plenty of people who do know the Lord who haven't experienced renewing in their mind. You know how Romans 12 tells us to not be conformed to the patterns of this world, but to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. He's talking to Christians, so there's plenty of Christians who are still conformed to the patterns of this world. and we all need to be renewed in our thinking. So I think there's plenty of fearful Christians, and I don't think that you can really use that as a reliable litmus test. If you get scared, you're not a Christian. I think that would be a bad thing to say. But if you have somebody who's constantly operating in fear, they're making decisions in fear, they're judging everybody based on fear, I would maybe just not put so much trust in that person, If that's your pastor, then I would suggest praying about finding a new pastor because you want people who at least are going to have some degree of maturity and are going to be able to practice what they preach. And again, your pastor's not going to be perfect either. If I were a pastor, I would not be a perfect pastor. But you want somebody who's moving forward, not backwards. So Christians get scared, and we just need to chill. And if you're telling somebody that they're not a Christian because they're scared, you're probably just being a douchebag, and you need to not be so prideful. And somebody could say you're not a Christian because you're prideful. But I think we all just need to be transformed by the renewing of our minds.
Relax.
Nice.
Step to
Relax. Yeah, ride the
it.
glory
Get to
wave.
it.
That's right. Peace is a promise, and it's a hard promise to remember sometimes, but whenever I have the presence of mind to actually just take a deep breath, man, it makes such a big difference. And if I'm having an area in my life where I'm not living in peace, it's because I'm believing some lie somewhere. That's what I'm inclined to think, and I'd say that's a biblical answer. Because he has not given us a spirit of fear. He's given us a spirit of power, of love, and a sound mind. And perfect love casts out all fear. So the more ingrained in God's love we are in our thinking, the less fear we're going to be experiencing. Even when things are scary, your body can be scared. You know what I mean? We're going to have our fight or flight responses to things. We're going to be concerned about things. If somebody confronts you, your body's still going to you might get some adrenaline in you and it might make you nervous. That doesn't mean that you're operating in fear, because there's a difference between your natural man freaking out about something and your spirit man making decisions. Oh my gosh. Finally got Darth Maul, and then I just got I ran into an army of people like a fool. It's a bad time. That's my rant on that.
Nice.
It's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I think it was a good one.
Uh-oh. Wait, we're winning. Okay.
Oh.
Yay.
Just like Skywalker. Fighting somebody else and he comes and kills me from behind.
That's what I'm doing to him right now. Oh, never mind. His buddy shot me. After this, let's back out and we'll switch it up.
I blew it up.
Nice.
Dude, you could shoot it from here. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's kind of lame.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm... done with Star Wars.
29 kills.
Well, I
12
have
deaths.
Ghost Recon.
That game's too slow for me. I like it. That's not true. It's not too slow for me. It's slow the same way that Red Dead is slow, and I like it, but I have to be in a chill mood to play that game. I do enjoy that game a lot, actually. I could probably be talked into playing it at some point this week. It's actually really cool.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's
And it's pretty too.
I don't know. It's very, very pretty. And I'm actually was I already got the thing where I'm working with Sam Fisher.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
That's pretty sweet.
I
I
think
think everybody got it. But I don't know.
yeah, I uninstalled Jedi Fallen Order. I don't know why I did it. I must have had to really make room for something because I really want it. I am gonna do.
I'm not with you apparently.
Oh, I thought you left. Hold on, you sent invites real fast.
I can just join you if you're not in a game.
Yeah, I'm not in a game, but I'll send an invite out anyways, just in case. We'll do sequel era. Your plastic is in the micro. It's like, what's happening?
I'm muted, sorry.
You're fine.
But is Mitchell not with us?
He's playing KOTOR because his internet got too slow.
Yeah, that Crispy 2 kind of puts me out of anything other than just speaking to you guys.
Yeah, I've been jonesing to play some Fallen Order, but I need to reinstall it.
I don't know. I think
Well, let me know if you get in the game because it still
enjoy-
says searching for me.
Yeah, I'm still searching.
the story.
There we go.
I enjoy the worlds. I'm just not
man.
sure how much I enjoy the gameplay itself on that game.
Say that again.
It's talking about Fallen Order. I enjoy the story. I enjoy the worlds. Not sure how much I enjoy the gameplay on it.
So what you need to do is you need to say that again, but punch yourself in the face when you're done saying it.
That's way too aggressive.
I love the gameplay. I just wish there was I wish there was more of it when you were done. You can still roam around a little bit, but I wish there was more sandboxy stuff to do. Kind of bums me out that there's not. Don channel. Still stinking hot in this house.
I turned my AC down to like 70 and I was like, ooh, I had to turn it back up. And it's like 90 outside.
Bro, I caught a bunch of fish again yesterday. It was awesome. Got into an argument with Kaylin. Went to the lake. Caught like 9 or 10 fish. Then I had to spend 3 hours cutting them up. That was less awesome.
Get yourself some crappie.
Apparently they're Mayan cichlids. Which is... They look like...
Crappie.
Yeah, they look like big old crappie. They're South American crappie looking thingies. But they are a lot bigger, which is kind of cool. So we've got a lot of meat. Made fish tacos the other night. It's a good time.
Nice. Good times are always good.
Mm-hmm.
It's the good part of the good times.
I'm first place on my team because I'm an officer and we just captured a thing with no resistance.
Well, you also scanned everybody at like that gives you a bunch of points.
Yep. That's exactly what did it. And I think I got assist points for all the people who had health and were capturing as well. Aw, dang it.
Really? That's great. Where? How are they behind us? What?
I don't know. I was just wondering that too. I was like, what's going on here? How the heck did he survive that? He had 1 hit point. Are you kidding me? Get out of my face.
Really, I'm in the bubble and he kills me.
It's a bad time. I need to stop rushing people is what I need to do. Yeah, I just play super conservatively with that guy, Jesse, and you'll do a lot of good. But you gotta get, yeah, you gotta get out of there.
I'm dead. What are you talking about? Dead. Instantly. Stupid. So stupid. And like, yeah, it just put me in apparently a very, very bad spot.
I'll tell you what, I'm really glad I learned how to level up characters properly. Because just the parts in Knights of the Old Republic where you have to send your companions to do something without you is no longer absolutely terrible. I think the only issue with it is even though force powers are super fun, kind of nice to have, they really mess with your class progression because they don't specialize into the class that they already are. So like, Beodur is a good example. You know, he's very skill oriented. He has a lot of intelligence, a lot of other stuff, a lot of skill points, and they throw him into like a guardian class, and he's only getting like 5 skill points a level.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, that's
what?
oh, that's rough.
You know what else is rough? This match. I've been a heavy and I just keep getting wasted right away. Guess I'm gonna have to stick with long range. Wow, that was awesome. Even though we're technically winning, but I am technically getting my butt kicked. Oh, that's Ray. Go away, Ray. Go away, Ray. No, 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 no. Okay. Here, Jesse, I'm gonna throw up a penny pin. Oh, never mind. There's nobody here. There we go. Oh my gosh, why are they killing me so quickly?
I think you know why. Because the game hates you.
You were waiting for that, weren't you? That was really fast. Real fast reaction time.
I was really hoping it was going to happen sometime. I'm pretty sure my companion is stronger than my main character, and I hate it. It's because the sword upgrades are ridiculous. Her sword is more powerful than my lightsaber, and I could just throw that on my character and I'd absolutely destroy it, but I refuse to. I'm a Jedi.
On principle.
Use a lightsaber. Why would they not be? Yeah, why would they not be the most powerful things in the game?
Yep.
I know why. Their justification for it is because they can deflect and defend.
Mm.
They don't, They would be overpowered if they had more damage as well. Like, maybe I want to be overpowered.
Do regular swords not defend in that game?
What?
I mean, they'll defend from melees, but not from blaster attacks.
Yeah, yeah.
You have to use a feat. You can add it's like blaster deflect, and it's actually kind of cool. I really like it because you'll see them block the blaster shots with their hands.
That's pretty cool. Oh, I really want them to redo those games. Because what I want is I want like that gameplay with new, this crispy 2021 graphics, man. That's what I want. Okay, now I'm playing like a baller because I switched classes. I went straight to the assault class, which is why my assault class is so freaking high leveled. Because I keep like having my specialty classes that I want to do, and then I'm just like, nope, I'm getting wasted. Switching to assault, having long range and versatility at the same time.
I think one thing they need to do, because they kind of struggled with it on this game, everything sort of hits a cap at some point, and this game has like 50 levels in it. You don't actually ever level up to that point. But there are some mods and glitches that people have used on the PC versions to level themselves up. And one thing that they notice that they really don't, like or enjoy is that it seems very much like there is a debuff that they give for levels past 30. Where
Like
all of a
diminishing
sudden
returns?
everyone's
Or an actual debuff?
yeah, even I don't know. I don't know what it is or how it works. It was explained to me, but I didn't care enough to listen. It was basically just someone saying that don't level yourself up to 50 and think that you're gonna break the game, because you'll find everyone is surprisingly spongy. And if you haven't dedicated yourself to a really intelligent build, it's going to be a lot harder than you think. I was just like, oh, that's unexpected.
That's different.
But yeah, man, I feel like what they should do, because I don't mind the game sort of progressing with you, but it should really be sort of like a satisfying progression. Like, I'm thinking of, what's it called? Diablo 3 is probably a good example, because it is incredibly difficult at the upper end of things. And what happens though is your character still becomes noticeably better even though the upper end of things is harder, and they put a lot into this. There are a lot of ads that you will just blow through, you will just absolutely destroy them. And then, maybe there's a boss that is difficult. They're not so difficult that they're impossible to take down, but you're also getting like huge numbers, They have a bunch of health. They're really spongy in that way, but they are not dodging every blow or impossible to hit. That's something they do in this game that is actually not fun. You know, you're trying to hit a guy, and he is just all over the place. And yeah, man, concludes my story. It just doesn't feel super satisfying to play, but it could. Like, it's almost there.
You're actually making me want to play KOTOR though, like KOTOR 2 specifically, because it's like a cleaner version of KOTOR 1, except not not cleaner as far as execution, but just combat mechanics.
Yeah, the combat mechanics are good. The game story, you know, it could be better.
Oh my gosh. Blech. Goodness. Why can't we capture D? Thank you.
Oh, what is
Why
the rest
can't
of
I
our
hit
team doing,
anybody
Jesse?
today? Dude, we're getting destroyed. But no, I think I'm done after this. Probably quit playing the games. But honestly, I don't know. We're like... I have 19 kills, that's it, so... What do you mean the rest of our team? I am trash at this game. I can't hit nobody right now.
You know, I don't know if you've noticed it, but BB9E, the Imperial droid, he sounds, I think they literally used the sounds from Wall-E. Not Wall-E the robot, but the movie, like one of the other robots in Wall-E, is definitely this droid.
Oh, is that what droid you are now?
Yeah, the little guy.
I just... Yeah. I see.
Yeah, these are absolutely stronger than my character is with his. I just one-shot the Sith Masters on Duxon. I was hitting him for 154 in a single hit with Mandalore.
Is that a lot?
That is a lot.
When you're
Typically anything over 40 for base damage is really, really good. You don't expect to hit that high with something other than like critical hits, you know, like if you're running a crit build and you're betting on that like one hit, you expect to hit this, but that's just like he's regularly hitting for that, not using critical hit. He doesn't have a critical multiplier, just using power attack. But the sword has so much base damage. It's got like something like 38 through 57, you know, which is
Are you
crazy
freaking kidding
high.
me? Oh my gosh, this game.
No, it really is that high.
Yeah, okay. Just got insta kill as Kylo, and it's getting shot in the back. That's why I took a gamble and it did not pay off. That paid off though. That was freaking awesome. Who's shooting me? Where the hell is this coming from?
Get out of here, Ray. I have died 3 times by Ray instantly of spawning. It's very frustrating.
We must fall back and defend the hyperdrive generator. If just one of those shield control points fall to the resistance, the generator will be exposed.
That was rough.
BB-8 just what? How is Ray always the one that kills me? Goodness gracious, fall off. Yeah, that's what you get, Ray. Yeah, she sorted me and fell off the ledge. Yeah. Sorted me, lightsabered, whatever.
No, you know. Oh my gosh. I hate this.
How did that guy not die? This game is freaking broken. Ah. Dude, seriously, I'm like shocking him, and he's like sitting there doing the twitches, and he's still shooting me.
Were you the droidy droid?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was the one that was sitting there helping you fight Ray, and you
Gotcha.
killed Ray, and I was
Yeah.
like shocking her and spinning her and doing all that, and then all of a sudden, like, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna die right here. That's fine. Don't worry about, you know, actually doing anything worthy of game playing.
Captain Phasma is here. You best look sharp.
What in the piss monkey uncle? Pardon me. Yeah, I'm at the point of that's just not fun anymore, so I go play something else here.
I think I might turn on some KOTOR after this. I'll switch it out so I can record my gameplay still. And yeah, sounds like a good time.
Nice. Good times they're good.
Mm-hmm.
Glad we cleared that up.
Mm-hmm. Just waiting for a
Dude,
hero
this
to
game
die.
is so freaking unbelievable.
I've got 68 eliminations though, that feels pretty good. Second place on the team.
Nice. That's good.
I got second to last held down.
Sweet.
Yo, perfect. You know, Ray can just completely walk through fire. That's awesome. Alright, don't hurt human beings.
The heck?
That time she couldn't walk through it. How about that?
Games are weird
Dude.
sometimes. In the sense that I'm weird when I play a game sometimes, because I have purposefully given these two characters bad builds with the complete and total purpose of making my character stand out more. They're just support classes. And I really like Knights of the
Oh
Old
my
Republic too,
Lanta, Ray, you need to go get a job or something, dude. That's stupid.
where
I've
you
literally died from
can-
Ray like 7, 8 times. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying, you can choose how your companion characters act in combat, and I have them basically just using force powers, and then all they have for force powers are like buffs and heals. They have absolutely no offensive capabilities, which they would be really good if they did. One of them has really high like melee capabilities, and the other one is really strong like force attack capabilities. And I'm just like, nope, because I wouldn't look as cool.
You can't be as strong as me.
Literally, exactly it.
Hey, is Mandalore in that game? Is it Canderous? It is, right?
It is. It is not confirmed.
Because he's got a helmet on.
In the because he's got his helmet on.
It's the same
But it
voice
was,
actor, right?
yeah, but it was like, I think so.
Sounds like him. I think I
Really?
remember that.
Ray again? What do you know?
But I'm pretty sure they confirmed it in like a novel, and it's in the remastered content. And yeah, not remastered, but you know, the mod.
Oh, the mod. Chasey, I think we might scrape this out, though. Get him, get him, get him! Nice job. Good save. You saved me. Just now. Ha! That happened. Wait. Wait, what? It's saying that the clock
What,
ran out.
question
But...
mark?
Alright. You made it. Yeah, it's like you defended it, and then like the health thing seemed to disappear from the screen, but I think it was just the timer going down to 0. Sweet. Totally sweet, you guys.
Thank you for giving me Ray Robot that I spent 5,000 or 4,000 on you.
Somebody beat you to it.
No, I don't
Oh, you
understand. So, like, don't get my money back?
No, you got your money back.
Okay.
Yeah, it refunds you. That's why I'll like literally sit there and button mash in between the loading screens because I want to spawn that hero.
Well, I didn't know. I was just like,
Yeah.
I'll come back. What's the point of having a freaking turret gun if you just die in 2 seconds? I'm so frustrated right now. Ah! Rage monster. Like in Dude Perfect.
He's an angry elf. Oop, that's a grenade. I did not mean to throw a grenade.
Oh, of course, I run into BB-8. Eh. They're coming out the left side.
Because yours is one of those.
That was less fun.
This is one.
I'm gonna go try to capture A to keep the pressure on them. Because I don't think they're focused.
Trying to keep Ray off of E. She's on E.
Hey, am I okay?
Who's the female that I hear? Is that Caitlyn?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I figured it
Yeah,
was, but I realized I was like, wait, I'm hearing somebody. Don't know who it is.
Yeah, no, my sister is up.
Nice. I have 101 eliminations. Feels good.
Is that good?
That is good. I have the second highest in the game right now. Not the second highest score. But
The entire sector will soon be ours. Up and ready.
I'm on a 10-player kill streak with this here little robot.
he's great, man. Especially like with his dodges, you can dodge so often and he's so tiny. What I like to do is zap them, dodge behind them, zap them again, and just
Which
keep
one's
doing
dodge?
it. B.
Like you couldn't get a shot in the shit.
I saw that. I'm watching your screen. As soon as you get out of combat, I'll spawn on you. There we go. Oh, there we don't go. There we go. Sweet. Ooh, BB-8's trying to get you. He's dead. Teamwork. You distract him, I'll shoot him. Whoa, why is it lagging?
Rain's been seen. Exercise caution around her. Protect objective.
One thing I am surprised and confused about is the feat progression for weapon masters. I figured they would get a lot of feats. I'm getting surprisingly
There's a
few.
guy over here somewhere.
Here, I've got my radar here. I just respond. There it is. It's a flyer. Nice. Sweet, we turned that game
Yeah.
around fast. Let's see if we can finish them off. Dude, I'm freaking killing it with this Sith Trooper, though. Mitchell, I've never... This is going to sound really bad. You know how you make less points with the support classes?
Mm-hmm.
You still make like pretty good points if you don't die. And I haven't really been taking advantage of that. I just write them off all the time. I never play as support classes because I'm always trying to get points to be the heroes. And this, like tonight, I've been doing that, and I'm like actually getting like a lot of kills. And it's like that's why I'm still number 2 on our leaderboard by 3,000 points. It's a good time, man.
Nice.
And so Jesse, now what I'm doing is I'm spawn camping, since I know that like we're going towards the ships. I'm just waiting in the spawn menu so that when the cutscene starts, I can button mash, and usually I'm able to steal the hero. So I'm mashing on Kylo. Phrasing, A's.
You heard it,
Phrasing.
folks. Stealing is a Christian principle.
It don't belong to you. Oh, come on. It's lagging. Hey, but it worked.
I got him.
You got Droidy Droid? I got Kylo.
Yeah.
By the way, you passively heal me. So if you just want to play support for me and like stay close, keep people off my back, hopefully we actually get somewhere and I don't just get wasted right away like normal. We're going to try to play really conservatively though. Okay, I'm rushing.
Just following you.
Oh, they got a BB-8 in here. Oh, what the heck is doing? Yep, I backed up right to him. That's disheartening.
I killed him.
I
Sorry.
forgot. No, you did good. I forgot to adjust my sensitivity, so I was getting shot in the back. And
Ray has been spotted. Be careful around that scavenger.
what it is they're like
Could it be?
spawning in. B? Okay.
Right, coming right behind you.
I hear lightsabers. Yep, there's Ray.
Tell you what, one thing lightsabers do have for them though, I don't know how it works actually, is it seems like you can put a lot of keen stuff in lightsabers.
Keen stuff.
And if that stacks, yeah, so what that does is say, so everything's based on a roll of 20, like, you know, D&D is.
Mm-hmm.
And say you have to roll a 20 for a critical hit. And different weapons are different. Some of them, it's 19 or 20. Well, it takes that number and it multiplies it by 2. You know? So say you have, like, a short lightsaber. I think those, because they're balanced, should have a different roll on them. And so it's like, it's 19 through 20. Keen multiplies that by 2, you know? So instead it would be instead of 2 numbers, it would be 4 numbers. You know, so 20, 19, 18, 17. Well, if you can keep stacking those, which I don't know if that's how the game works, but if you can put like 4, you know, different keen items into a lightsaber, then, you know, almost half of the time you're getting a critical hit on someone, which is huge damage. But don't quote me on it, because that might not work. And I don't see that many people online running crit builds, so it might be something that doesn't work the way I think it does. But I would be down to experiment with it.
Cool.
Oh crap, Ray's in here.
Yep. Sweet. All right, Jesse, I'm Kylo.
Picture of
Running from Ray.
Got her. Why is my health so low? Dang it, I got hit like once, I felt like. Here, where are you at? Because you heal me, actually.
I'm right next to you.
Yeah. Oh, BB-8's in here with us. There, never mind. He's down.
I can't believe I've lived this long.
Yeah, you're doing
I haven't
awesome.
ship yet.
We got somebody behind us. Oh, where'd he go? That's weird.
Here, I'll show you where they're at.
Yeah, so I can mind that.
Concentrating our firepower on the core.
Wow, what a fun kill streak.
Tell you what, I never really noticed the fact that Kreia is really, not broken or anything, but surprisingly useful. Like, she just has a ton of different skills, but she's also got really high wisdom and force use. So for crafting
died.
items, because if you remember, there is a crafting system in this game.
Oh,
Yeah, she's
Dude,
pretty
I'm
good
5
because
points
she
away from
has
getting back.
nice.
she has
Stupid.
high awareness, and she also has high treat injury.
Okay.
And that's really good for some of the lightsaber stuff and some of the armor stuff that you can craft. It's pretty useless for like ranged and melee. Well,
You
actually, it's
win.
probably pretty good for ranged, but it's pretty useless for melee. But yeah, man.
Oh, I took first on the team, third in the game.
I got up to 8
Crafting, man.
from like 18.
Yeah, I forgot. The game is so much more fun when we like actually stick together the whole time. It adds such a cool dynamic to everything. There's me, third place. Logos Gaming.
Yeah, there's that Ray character that kept destroying me. I went from level 6 to level 9 as BB9E.
Bro, that was fun. I got fun.
That was a good one. Yeah. I'm gonna just chill out for a minute. Last night I could not go to sleep.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah. Eat some goldfish and go nay.
Yeah, so I think I am maxed out on
Later, guys.
Later, dude.
later. I think I'm maxed